United States quarter-dollar coins are more than everyday change. Some quarters hide extraordinary value, rare mint errors, and powerful history that can transform ordinary coins into priceless treasures. From early Washington quarters to modern issues, collectors around the world search for rare quarter dollars with unique errors, pristine condition, and unusual features that make them worth far more than face value. Certain quarters, especially those with mint mistakes, limited survival, or perfect preservation, have become legends in the coin collecting world. This guide explores all quarter-dollar coins, revealing how rarity, condition, and hidden details can turn a simple 25-cent coin into a life-changing discovery. If you own old quarters, uncirculated coins, or unusual-looking pieces, this information can help you understand their true potential. Never ignore a quarter without checking it closely. History proves that overlooked coins can hold unimaginable wealth and surprising stories for generations. The United States quarter has been a piece of everyday life, clutched in pocket change, jingling in cash registers, passed from hand to hand. The quarter has been an unassuming companion through millions of transactions. But like many things in life that seem ordinary at first glance, hidden beneath its familiar silver-colored surface is a potential for magic. The possibility that the very coin you overlook could one day hold unimaginable value. The year 1965 marked a turning point in American coinage history. It was the first year the silver content was removed from quarters, ending a long tradition that traced back to the very beginnings of the United States Mint. Before 1965, quarters were 90% silver, a precious metal with intrinsic value. But in 1965, as part of a nationwide shift away from precious metals in circulating currency, the quarter became clad in copper nickel. The result was a coin that looked the same to the casual eye, but was fundamentally different in substance. To most people, this change meant nothing more than a slight alteration in metallic makeup. Yet to collectors, those who pore over every edge and surface of coins, the 1965 quarter represents a watershed moment. It is the coin that bridged the past and the future, and because of that, it carries a story far richer than its face value of 25 cents. In a world where context gives meaning, the 1965 quarter stands at a fascinating intersection of history and possibility. Millions were minted that year, pouring out into circulation across the United States. Everyday hands spent them like any other coin, unaware that somewhere amidst those millions might lie an anomaly, a variation so rare that could turn a humble quarter into a treasure. The world of coin collecting is built on rarity and condition, and these twin pillars determine how much a collector might be willing to pay. A coin that is both rare and pristine can command prices that defy ordinary logic. Imagine holding a coin so perfect, so untarnished by time, that no scratches mar its surface, nowhere dulls its luster, a coin as crisp as the moment it left the mint. In the eyes of collectors, such a coin isn't just money, it's a piece of history in its purest form. Now add the idea of an error, a mint mistake that makes a coin unique. In the history of numismatics, errors are treasures. A slight doubling of the letters, an off-center strike that give the image an eerie, surreal look, a die crack like a lightning bolt frozen in metal. These mistakes are the quirks that can elevate a common coin into a legend. While there is no widely documented million-dollar 1965 quarter in the mainstream numismatic catalog, the fascination with errors and extreme rarity persists. Collectors chase these anomalies with feverish passion because anything unusual can become iconic. Stories of coins selling for staggering sums aren't just modern fairy tales. They are part of the fabric of collecting culture. A 1913 Liberty Head, nickel once sold for millions because just 5 of them are known to exist. A 1933 Double Eagle gold coin carries legal battles, intrigue, and prices most people can't fathom. So the idea that a single coin, even a 1965 quarter, could someday be worth a small fortune isn't purely fantasy. After all, value in the coin world is as much about story and scarcity as it is about metal. Imagine you discover such a coin in an old jar of loose change, or tucked inside a dusty drawer long forgotten. That moment, that breathless instant where your fingers recognize something different. That's the magic every collector dreams of. It's the moment when the ordinary becomes extraordinary, when a simple quarter could potentially change a life. In mint condition, Coins graded by expert organizations like PCGS or NGC are given scores that reflect every facet of their appearance, from strike quality to surface preservation. A top-graded coin is like the flawless diamond of the numismatic world, and collectors pay premium prices for them. If, against all odds, a 1965 quarter were discovered in such perfect state with certified major error, it could draw international attention and competition among bidders in the world's most elite auctions. But let's be clear, such discoveries are exceptionally, almost unbelievably rare. Most 1965 quarters are common and worth just a bit above face value to collectors. Yet the power of possibility is what keeps coin enthusiasts searching through rolls of coins, scouring flea markets and estate sales with eager eyes. Because every once in a great while, the universe surprises us. Coin collecting isn't just about money. It's about connection to history. The 1965 quarter carries with it a story of an era when the United States was reshaping its monetary identity. A coin like this reminds us of the hands that held it. Children buying candy, workers paying for coffee, commuters feeding parking meters. Every tiny scratch and mark represents a moment in time. But beyond the stories, there's a human dream, the hope that somewhere, tucked away unnoticed, lies a treasure. The 1965 quarter, ordinary as it is, becomes a symbol of that dream. What if your coin is the one? What if you are the person who discovers the anomaly that the world has been waiting for? Of course, the reality for most collectors is grounded in moderation. A typical 1965 quarter might fetch a few dollars in perfect condition, far from a million spoken of in legend. But legends have power. They inspire hope. They stir imaginations. And they beckon us to look twice at that which we take for granted. Professional coin dealers often remind beginners that emotional attachment can cloud judgment, but the lure of finding something spectacular keeps the hobby alive and vibrant. Every coin carries potential, not just metal, but in the story it might tell and the future it might hold. When you hold a quarter dated 1965, remember it is more than a piece of metal. It is a relic of transition, a witness to an era, and in the heart of every collector, a tiny beacon of possibility. The value lies not just in what it is, but in what it could be and what it means to the person who finds it. Treasure isn't always measured in dollars, but in the wild and wonderful world of coin collecting, the improbable sometimes becomes real. A coin once destined for pocket change can rise to fame, surrounded by stories, auctions, and bidders who see beauty and history where others see only spare change. So if you have a 1965 quarter, don't dismiss it. Hold it. Study it. Appreciate it for its place in American numismatic history. And if you ever feel its edges, gaze at its design and wonder if it might be more than it seems. Know that you're touching a piece of a dream that millions of collectors share. In the end, the true fortune in coins like the 1965 quarter isn't just in the speculative millions. It's in the thrill of discovery, the connection to history, and the joy of being part of a world where even the common can whisper secrets of rarity and wonder. So treasure what you have, cherish the hope of what you might find. And remember this. In the world of coins, every piece has a story, and every story has the power to captivate the heart more than any amount of money ever could. There is something almost magical about holding a piece of history in the palm of your hand. When that piece of history is a coin minted decades ago, worn smooth by time, and possibly hiding extraordinary rarity, the normal world slips away and a world of possibility rushes in. That is exactly the thrill that surrounds some old United States quarters, and none more so, in the dreams of collectors and treasure hunters, than the enigmatic 1972 quarter. The year 1972 feels recent to many of us, a time of bell-bottoms, classic rock blasting on radios, and a country still finding its way through change. But in the world of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, that year is etched into the timeline as a rich moment of design, cultural reflection, and, for a few extremely rare pieces, untold potential value. Most 1972 quarters were ordinary coins meant for everyday transactions. They passed through cash registers, pockets, coin jars, and gumball machines. They bought sandwiches and bus rides and everyday pleasures. In their intended purpose, they were humble, functional, and unremarkable. But among millions of these coins, a legend is always whispered to the collector community. What if some are more than ordinary? What if one is the key to unimaginable fortune? To understand that possibility, you must first understand how coins become rare. A coin's value is not etched solely in the metal from which it's made. Though many pre-1965 coins have precious metal content that gives them baseline worth. Instead, rarity comes from what shouldn't be there. Errors, limited production, unique historical context, or accidental survival in perfect condition. A coin that was lost and untouched for decades may be far more valuable than one that changed hands countless times. The 1972 quarter was made of copper-nickel clad, not precious metal, and so its face value had nothing to do with the metal content itself. But conventional value alone doesn't tell the whole story. Rarity, condition, and the whisper of anomaly are what send collectors' hearts racing. Imagine a coin so pristine that it looks nearly new even after half a century. No scratches, no wear, a surface that gleams as though the moment it left the mint is frozen in time. That is a coin that could command attention. Then there are errors. Mint errors can be simple. A slight doubling of letters here, a tiny spot of extra metal there. Or dramatic, like completely off-center strikes that make the image look dreamlike or surreal. These imperfections, which the mint itself never intended, become treasures precisely because they are unexpected and unique. A 1972 quarter with a dramatic mint error might just be a ticket into the world of extraordinary valuation. Now, imagine combining those two forces, impeccable condition and a major mint anomaly. This is where ordinary dreams meet the realm of legends. In the imaginations of coin enthusiasts everywhere, such a coin could, with the right provenance and market conditions, be worth far more than its face value, and in far-fetched dreams, even millions. Would such a discovery truly make someone a billionaire overnight? In reality, the odds are staggeringly slim. But the idea itself, the possibility, is a fuel that keeps collectors searching coin rolls in dusty drawers and ancient cash jars. Legends of other rare coins selling for millions, like the famed 1933 double eagle gold piece with 5 known 1913 Liberty Head nickels, remind the world that coins can transcend their monetary origin and become untouchable art objects, auction block sensations, and objects of desire. In those rarefied environments, provenance, rarity, and story carry tremendous weight. If a 1972 quarter ever made it into this hall of legend, it would be because it carried a narrative unlike any other. But every extraordinary legend has humble beginnings. For most people, a 1972 quarter is just that, a coin seen every day. It doesn't gleam from a collector's glass display. It doesn't attract bids at a high-end auction. It sits quietly next to a 20-cent piece, unnoticed and taken for granted. Yet, for the collector with a trained eye, even the ordinary draws scrutiny, because some ordinary coins harbor secrets. These secrets might be visible only under magnification. A minute die crack that, magnified, resembles a lightning flash frozen in metal. A small doubling of the date that makes the quartz-sharp letters ripple like time itself has stretched. A misprint that sends shivers up the spine of those who seek the rarest treasures. Such anomalies elevate coins from simple currency to enigmatic artifacts. Condition plays its own powerful role. Collectors use grading services, meticulous, expert systems that examine every imperfection, every grain of metal, every reflection of light, to assign coins a grade that can make or break a coin's market value. A coin that achieves a top grade, essentially perfect, becomes a unicorn in the grading world. That's when ordinary becomes extraordinary. But let's pause and consider something deeper. Beyond the fantasy of millions or billions, there's a human heartbeat to this quest. People collect coins for many reasons: nostalgia, historical curiosity, investment, or simply the joy of unearthing something beautiful. Sometimes, the real treasure isn't monetary, it's emotional. It's the breathless wonder of discovering something you never expected. That moment, the shiver of possibility, is priceless. Still, the stories of those who did find rare coins, tucked away in family heirlooms or forgotten savings jars, are the ones that feed imagination. A single quarter, unremarkable at first glance, suddenly revealed to be a gem of history. That's the stuff that coin lovers dream about, not just because of the potential value, but because it connects us to the mystery of chance and time. Coins are more than metal. They are storytellers. They carry the echoes of hands that held them, places they traveled and lives they touched. The grooves, the nicks, the tiny imperfections, each is a chapter of a life lived. A rare coin doesn't just hold value, it holds soul. And so the 1972 quarter becomes more than a date stamped on metal. It becomes a symbol of possibility, of mystery, and of the universe's hidden surprises. Each one is a reminder that even the most ordinary object might conceal wonder, if we only take the time to look closely. Imagine showing a rare and perfectly preserved 1972 quarter at auction. Imagine the hushed gasps as experts lean in to examine it, the intense bidding as wealthy collectors and museums vie for its possession. Imagine the final hammer fall, the stunned silence, the ticket into history that the new owner holds in their hands. That is the allure of rarity. But even this imagined spectacle has meaning beyond money. It speaks to the human passion for discovery, for beauty, and for the stories that connect us across time. Coins, in their silent way, are time capsules of society. They reflect the art, the priorities, and the history of the moments when they were made. So if you own a 1972 quarter, hold it with respect. Appreciate it for its role in history, its place in culture, and the dreams it can inspire. Treasure it, not just for possible wealth, but for what it represents, a link between the everyday present and an extraordinary past. In the end, even if number 1972, there's something electric about holding a coin that feels heavier with possibility than with metal. A quarter, something we spend without a second thought, can suddenly become the spark that ignites dreams beyond imagination. And if that coin is a 1981 quarter, few would ever guess the hidden world of intrigue and wonder that could surround such a humble piece of currency. At first glance, a 1981 quarter is just another coin. The familiar profile of George Washington on the front, the eagle or the state design on the back, the smooth edges that have passed through countless hands. Most people see it, think 25 cents, and move on. Yet for those who look deeper, coins like this hold stories, histories, anomalies, whispers of rare possibility. In the world of coin collecting, value isn't defined by face value. Instead, it is shaped by rarity, condition, historical significance, and sometimes errors. A mint error might make a coin unique, pulling from the realm of everyday change into the astonishing world of collectibles worth tens, thousands, or even potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. And in the wildest dreams of collectors, maybe even millions, if all the right factors align. The ordinary 1981 quarter rolled off production lines in the millions. It circulated through wallets and parking meters, paid for snacks at school, and jingled in coin jars. But imagine if just one of those millions slipped to the mint with something extraordinary, a dramatic misstrike, an off-center image that looks almost like a surreal artwork, a double design that makes the letters dance and shimmer under magnification. There is power in rarity, a kind of magnetism that pulls in collectors from around the world. A coin in perfect, uncirculated condition, one that looks untouched by time, can be many times more valuable than the worn quarter found in your pocket, especially when experts grade it at the very top of the scale, declaring it essentially flawless. Suddenly, it is no longer just metal. It is a piece of history preserved in pristine form. Coins that achieve the highest grades from trusted certification services can attract bidding wars at auctions. People with deep passion and deep pockets compete to possess something rare, something beautiful, something that holds a story older than their own memories. In those arenas, value can soar in ways that leave ordinary folks speechless. But what about a 1981 quarter, a coin not known for rare precious metals, not from a limited mintage year, not a centenary issue? The truth is this: most 1,981 quarters are common and worth only a bit more than face value to most collectors. That doesn't make them boring. It makes the search for the extraordinary ones all the more thrilling. The possibility that one might exist is what keeps eyes scanning dusty rolls, coin trays, and forgotten drawers. When a collector finds an unexpected error, something that shouldn't be there, the reaction is electric. Imagine holding up a quarter that, under magnification, displays an unexpected anomaly, so dramatic it looks like a tiny world warping inside the metal. The excitement is almost addictive. What is this? How did it happen? And most of all, what is it worth? the coin suddenly tells a story. It is no longer a mere monetary token. It is a moment frozen in time. That's what makes coin collecting more than a hobby. It is a bridge to history, a puzzle, a quest, and sometimes a coach whispering promises of fortune. Yes, there are legends in numismatics. Stories of coins discovered in flea markets, jars of forgotten change, and old sock drawers that turn out to be worth more than many people earn in a year. Most of these tales are rooted in rare pre-1965 coins, but that doesn't stop the imagination from tugging on the thread of what if. If you imagine a scenario where a 1981 quarter possessed a truly dramatic and certified mint error, perhaps what most unusual ever seen, and if it was graded at the very top of perfection, then its value could, in theory, exceed expectations. Auctions have surprised the world before. A coin that blends rarity, pristine condition, and uniqueness becomes a prize that collectors will vie for passionately. But the true magic in this story isn't the price tag. It's the idea of possibility. The notion that something so ordinary could harbor something extraordinary, waiting to be discovered by someone patient, observant, and lucky. The journey of searching through rolls of coins, studying minute details, and feeling that rush of anticipation, that's the heartbeat of the hobby. Coins are like time capsules. They pass through hands, crossed oceans, witness history, each tiny scratch and shine a chapter of a life lived. When you hold a 1981 quarter, you're holding not just currency, but a miniature artifact of an era that now belongs to the past. And yet, for collectors, every coin is a question. Could this be the one? Could this quarter be untouched by time? Could it carry a rare error? Could it someday be the centerpiece of a conversation, an auction, a legend? Even if number 1981 quarter ever reaches multi-million-dollar status in real auctions, the stories of coins that do sell for astonishing sums keep the dream alive. They remind us that possibility is real, that rarity has value, and that sometimes the ordinary hides more than meets the eye. In the end, the allure of a coin like a 1981 quarter isn't just financial, it's emotional. It's the thrill of discovery, the joy of connection with history, and the pride of finding something rare. That's what makes collectors keep searching, keep studying, and keep believing. So if you have a 1981 quarter in your pocket or jar, don't toss it away. Look at it, appreciate it, feel the history in its weight, and imagine, just for a moment, that it might be more than you ever expected. Because in the world of coins, value isn't always what you see. It's what you believe might be possible. And sometimes, the belief itself is worth more than any amount of money. There's a magnetic pull when you hold a coin that almost feels alive, like it hums with possibility under your fingertips. Few coins evoke that sense like an old U.S. quarter, a small piece of metal that somehow carries centuries of American lives in its silent weight. Among them, the 1984 quarter stands as a beacon of ordinary origin and extraordinary potential, a symbol of how even the most common object can hide the power to change a life in an instant. To the everyday eye, a 1984 quarter is nondescript. Just another coin with George Washington's profile, just another piece of copper-nickel-clad metal handed out as change at the grocery store. Yet for those who know the secret languages of coins, the shapes, the strikes, the gleam and grain, this unassuming quarter is a gateway to possibility. It is a relic of a moment in time, a slip of history that slid quietly into existence during a year that buzzed with energy and change. In 1984, the United States was pulsing with cultural shifts, music, movies, and politics dance across screens and airwaves. The Washington quarter, already more than half a century old as design, continued its quiet duty as everyday money. Millions of them were struck, spilling into hands, piggy banks, parking meters, and coin jars. For most, they were just quarters. But for some, those same coins became whispered legends in the shadowy corridors of numismatics. Collectors, the dreamers with magnifying glasses and notebooks, know that coins are not merely metal. They are stories stamped in time. A coin can carry the echoes of hands that held it, of economies humming, of moments too small to be remembered yet too powerful to be erased. And when a coin survives decades in near-perfect condition, untouched, unscuffed, unshaken by ordinary wear, it becomes more than a relic. It becomes a time capsule. Condition is the heartbeat of coin value. A quarter pulled from circulation, marred with nicks from everyday life, is but a whisper of its former self. But a quarter that has slept for years in a drawer, wrapped in tissue or sealed in a collector's album, may shine with a brilliance that stops experts in their tracks. The surface gleams like frozen sunlight. The edges are crisp. The strike is sharp, as it was made yesterday. But rarity and quality alone don't always spell astronomical value. What turns a coin into a legend, the kind that has collectors whispering about million-dollar possibilities, is uniqueness. A mint error, a striking anomaly, a misprint so dramatic that experts lean in closely and gasp. These are the moments when a common coin becomes extraordinary. Imagine, for a moment, a 1984 quarter with an error so wild it looks like the coin itself was reshaped by a cosmic hand. Perhaps its surface carries a shimmering double image, or its date is split and mirrored like a reflection in fractured glass. These anomalies transform the ordinary into the remarkable, the everyday into the collectible equivalent of a masterpiece painting. Stories from a collector underground are peppered with fantastical discoveries. A coin pulled from an old jar in Grandma's attic that turned out to be worth more than a car. A quarter found in a dusty drawer that led to a life-changing auction day. These tales aren't simple fantasy. They are testaments to the thrill of the hunt, the mystery that hides just beneath our daily lives. Coins like the 1984 quarter encapsulate a dual truth. They can be both ordinary pocket change and vessels of staggering possibility. Most 1984 quarters won't be worth much more than their face value, or perhaps a modest sum in uncirculated condition. But somewhere, perhaps tucked away and forgotten, there could exist a specimen of such profound rarity that its story shifts the way people think about collecting forever. And think about what that means. A coin believed to be common could suddenly become the centerpiece of the numismatic world, drawing intense bidding wars at auction houses where wealthy collectors and museums compete with fervor. In such a world, a single quarter might attract offers that make jaws drop and headlines scream. Collectors don't merely collect coins. They chase stories. They chase that gut-tightening moment when discovery becomes reality, when an everyday object reveals itself to be extraordinary. That moment, that shiver of astonishment, is worth more than gold, because it is born of human hope and the joy of wonder. In the rarefied universe where coins become legends, it's not just about condition. It's about what the coin represents. A pristine specimen from 1984 tells a story of time preserved. An error coin tells a story of human fallibility and beauty born of imperfection. A piece that combines both becomes a nexus of fascination and value. If such a 1984 quarter were ever discovered, untouched by time, bearing a bizarre mint error so dramatic that experts can hardly believe their eyes, it would be the stuff of legend. Auction houses would buzz. The coin world would hold its breath. News would ripple across forums, collector circles, and perhaps even mainstream headlines. Someone might hold that coin, just someone like you, and whisper, "I never thought this ordinary thing could be so extraordinary." And suddenly, a coin once worth 25 cents could be the key to changing a life forever. But the magic of this narrative isn't merely about wealth. It's about belief in possibility. It's about the idea that something ordinary can transform into something magnificent. It's about every person who has ever wondered if, somewhere in their pocket or jar, lies a ticket to destiny. Coins are silent teachers. They remind us that history isn't just in books. It's in the objects we touch every day. They remind us that value isn't only a number. It can be a story, a mystery, a dream. So, when you hold a 1984 quarter, take a moment to really look at it. Feel its weight. Imagine its journey through time. Consider the hands that passed it along and the places it has been. And know that, in the universe of possibility, even the seemingly ordinary can be breathtaking. Maybe number 1984 quarter will ever sell for millions. Maybe the stories of treasure are just stories. But even if that's true, the dream of possibility invites us to see the world a little more vividly, a little more magically. Because the real value lies not just in metal or rarity, but in the wonder of believing that anything, even a simple quarter, could hold the power to change a life overnight. And that in itself is priceless. There's a peculiar kind of magic in an everyday object that most people take for granted, and a 1992 United States quarter is exactly that kind of object. To the casual observer, It's just a small, silver-colored coin with George Washington's profile smiling into the years. But in the world of collectors, where dreams and metal intersect, that simple quarter becomes a symbol of possibility. A tiny disc of metal that could, in the wildest of all dreams, one day be worth far more than anyone ever imagined. Most people never think twice about the quarters that clink into the bottom of their purse or pocket. They buy snacks with them, pay for parking meters, and throw them into charity jars without a second thought. To the world at large, a 1992 quarter is worth 25 cents. And that's the end of it. But deep beneath its surface lies a story that could be whispered in hushed tones at coin shows, among collectors, and in the dreams of treasure hunters everywhere. The United States Mint struck millions of these coins that year, sending them out into circulation across the country. They jangled through everyday life, grocery stores, laundromats, vending machines, and boardwalk arcades. Most of them served their purpose and faded into the background of American life. But somewhere, perhaps tucked away in a dusty drawer or forgotten jar, there might be one that defies the ordinary and inches into the extraordinary. For a coin to be truly valuable, the kind that can make headlines if sold for more than a millionaire's annual salary, it needs to carry something exceptional. It could be unbelievably pristine condition, a dramatic mint error, or a rare variation that slipped through unnoticed. In a world where collectors thrive on the hunt for the unusual, that's the spark that drives hearts racing. Condition is everything. A coin that's clattered through decades of circulation will bear the marks of its journey. Nicks, scratches, fading detail, and dull surfaces. But imagine a 1992 quarter that has somehow remained untouched by time, as if preserved in a bubble of memory. Its surfaces gleam like new, its edges are razor-sharp, and every line in Washington's face is crisp and clear. In the collector world, that kind of condition is referred to as mint state, and those coins can command prices far above ordinary. And yet, even mint state alone doesn't always send shockwaves through the numismatic universe. The true treasure lies in the unexpected, the anomaly that shouldn't exist. A subtle shift in the die, a misalignment so slight, yet so visible under magnification, a doubled image that dances in light. These are the quirks that can drive prices into the stratosphere. Imagine if a 1992 quarter were struck off-center in such a dramatic way that part of Washington's face seems to float outside the border. Or perhaps the date and letters were doubled so perfectly that the coin seems to hold two histories at once. These are the quirks that send collectors scrambling, that make dealers stop mid-sentence, that could, in the most extraordinary of circumstances, push a coin's value toward unimaginable heights. Tap into that idea for a moment. What if someone discovered such a coin, unlabeled in a jar of change passed down through generations? What if they had no clue what they were holding until a keen-eyed collector spotted it at a flea market? What if that quiet moment, holding a simple quarter in your hand, transformed into the opportunity of a lifetime? Because here's the heart of the dream. In the rarest of all cases, a coin can transcend its face value and become a piece of history, not just a relic, not just a collectible, but a legend. There are tales in the coin world of rare pennies, rare nickels, rare gold pieces fetching eye-popping prices, sometimes millions of dollars at auction. In those rare moments, a coin doesn't just have value, it becomes value itself. Now, a 1992 quarter isn't made of gold or silver. It's copper-nickel clad. Its metal alone doesn't whisper fortune. But coins are about more than metal. They're about rarity, story, and wonder. A dramatic, certified error or a coin of such perfect condition that it becomes a near-mythical specimen in collector catalogs could draw international attention. People might bid fiercely for the right to hold it, to own it, to tell its story. Collectors don't just invest in metal. They invest in narratives. They invest in the possibility that somewhere in a dusty attic, in a forgotten birthday card envelope from 30 years ago, lies a treasure waiting to be revealed. That's what keeps them poring over collections, rolling through boxes of change, and studying every shimmer under magnification. Now imagine you are that person, the one holding the coin. Your heart thuds as you recognize something unusual in its strike. You take it to an expert. The expert leans in, adjusts the light, nods slowly. Your breath catches. This might not be ordinary after all. And then the grading service, meticulous, respected, certifies it. The coin is graded in the highest possible condition, and its error is undeniable. The certificate gleams like a stamp of destiny. Suddenly, the ordinary quarter in your hand is extraordinary in every sense. At auction, excitement builds. Bidders from across the globe tune in. Phone lines light up. Online screens flash offers. The crowd leans forward. The hammer falls. And just like that, the coin that once jingled as pocket change becomes a priceless piece of history, perhaps worth more than a house, more than a business, more than many people will ever earn in a lifetime. In that moment, your life changes. You're no longer defined by the ordinary rhythms of everyday existence. You are the owner of a legend, someone who looked closely at what the world saw as ordinary and found extraordinary. But perhaps the deepest truth of all is that the real value isn't always money alone. It's the story, the thrill, the adventure, discovery. It's the connection to time, to history, to the hidden dreams that live in everyday objects. That's what makes the world of coins so irresistible. So if you have a 1992 quarter tucked away somewhere, don't toss it casually into a jar. Hold it, look at it, let your imagination wander just a bit. Think about where it has been, whose hands have held it, and what stories it might tell. Because in the world of collectors, every coin has a story, and some, very rarely, have the power to rewrite lives. In the end, even if number 1992 quarter ever sells for millions in reality, the possibility ignites something powerful in us all. The belief that even the smallest, most overlooked things can hold a spark of magic, a spark that can change a fortune, a life, or even a destiny overnight. And that, after all, is the true treasure hidden in the heart of every coin.